Outside early voting locations, police reform activists are collecting signatures in hopes of taking two state laws off the books in San Antonio. It's part of a contentious debate over police reform in the Alamo City. Eyewitness News photojournalist Alan Kozlu explains.
Because I'm the mayor of this city and we're going to make change together, okay?
It was June 2020. Energy was high. Protesters were pounding the pavement to press for police reforms. Then came the work.
Next slide.
City leaders and Chief William McManus held virtual meetings and media roundtables to try and address the issue of police accountability. In discussions, two state laws would frequently come up.
We have Chapter 174.
Chapter 143.
And Chapter 174, which gives cities in Texas the right to collectively bargain. And Chapter 143, that gives officers the right to arbitrate. Those need to go. We need our elected officials, both locally and our state reps, to press that issue in Austin.
Have a moment of your time, please, sir.
San Antonio adopted the local government code chapters 143 and 174 by a vote. Now, activists with Fix SAPD are collecting signatures to put it back on the ballot for removal, maintaining that repeal is the best way to help McManus keep his officers accountable.
Since 1947, these laws have been on the books, and San Antonio is ready to repeal them, ready to give back the accountability that they want, ready to give the chief the power to be able to manage his departments.
San Antonio Police Officers Association President Mike Helly says the dispute over arbitration is no reason to get rid of collective bargaining completely, stressing that in the past it has been the union driving reform and change.
That's what our organization does. We're not afraid of reform. We've had to be the change agent. So allow us the opportunity to do that.
Since the chief's Facebook Live statement, SAPD put out statements clarifying that McManus does not support the repeal of the government codes and that he only takes issue with the section of the collective bargaining agreement overseeing arbitration and internal affairs. Those sections can be altered with the union's cooperation. One way or another, both sides of this debate seem confident the public will take their side.
We have been working hard, and San Antonio has been listening. San Antonio has been signing.
The community has always had our backs. Always.
Alan Kozlu, KENS 5, Eyewitness News.